Hello. Should I be nervous? Probably. I swear this is the last time that I will be combining 2 days. Yesterday I was supposed to change something about myself, and unfortunately I had already changed something about myself and did not think to record it when I did it, and that was my hair. When I dyed it from that really gross blonde color to my natural dark blonde / light brown color. And then I was gonna get a haircut, and I asked my mom about that because hairdressers are too expensive. And my mom's not really a fan of being on camera, and even if she was, I think it'd be kind of weird to record me getting a haircut, just like, oh yeah, snip here and here, and I don't know, there's not really a point. So the only other thing that I could think of to change, staring at myself instead of talking to you guys directly, because obviously I think I'm just a stud. Yeah, so the only other thing that I can change about myself, that I'd like to change about myself, is how shy I am. And I've been working on that for several years, and I don't think that I've been doing too bad, but I'm not exactly doing exceptional either. So today I had 3 interviews, and I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to. But I did. I went to 2 of them. And the first one starts in March, and she had basically said that I would probably have the job. And then the other one starts tomorrow, and I got it. So I was like, I'm not going to the 3rd one. Why do I need to go to the 3rd one? I have a job in line already, and then I have a job tomorrow. And plus I still have 2 jobs that I'm working, and so many jobs, I just can't. Today's video, I believe, is to tell a false story, and I don't know if they meant like I should tell a story about myself that's not true, as in like that kind of false story, but that's not something that I'm into, because I don't like liars, so why would I lie even for a YouTube video? So instead, when it gets dark out and you can't see all the sunlight, I'm going to make a scary story. It's something that I had used to tell. I used to help out with a Cubs thing. I don't know if everybody knows what that is. Cubs and Scouts and whatever comes after that, or before that, I guess. I don't know. I forget how it works. I was in Scouts, my brother was in Cubs, and I had been the Kim of Cubs. I would help take charge and make some events and play some games, and one night we had a sleepover in the church, and I decided to tell a scary story. And it just so happened that at one of my favorite parts of the scary story that I had made up when I was young, there's supposed to be a creaking door, and somebody outside of the door had decided to push it open. So all of the kids were like, ah, it's coming to get me! And it was great. So I'm gonna share that story with you. It's been a long time since I've told it, so hopefully I do it justice, and maybe it'll just not be scary anymore. But that's what I'm going to do in the spirit of Halloween, since tomorrow's Halloween! I think tomorrow's video is something stupid, so we'll see what I can do about that instead. And that's it for now, and I'll be back when it's time for the scary story. But to you it'll be like 2 seconds and it'll be stupid. Why am I saying I'll be back? Because you're going to see me right away. Yep, there's a cat beside me. I let one of my cats be in my video yesterday, so I guess I gotta let this one be in the video today. Nico? Nico, say hello! Nico! Nico! He's too fascinated with the outdoors. Nico, say hello! Hello, Nico! I would apologize for the dark, but I believe that this is appropriate lighting for a Halloween story. And if you disagree, then I'm sorry that it is very dark and probably really hard to see. But I kind of look like a floating head. Well, except when I bring my arms up, but my shirt blends in with the dark. So it's kind of like a floating head. Could be spooky, right? For sure. Spooky kitty of doom! In a small town, quite far from a valley, there was this one house that nobody would dare go. Not the children, who like to play dares and scare their friends. Not the parents, and not even tourists would even venture close to this house. There was just something off about it, and nobody knew why. Then one day, everybody was taken by surprise when a family had decided that the legends around the house couldn't be true. They figured they had to be bogus, somebody just didn't want this house because it was so expensive. And they moved in. This family consisted of a mother, a father, 2 little girls, they were twins, and a little boy. You could tell that nobody had lived there for quite a while, but it was still so nice. The family had instantly rejoiced in the choice that they had made, and they went to bed with hopes held high for a bright new tomorrow. What they didn't do was explore the house, and this left the children stirring in their beds. The 2 little girls went into the living room and decided they were going to search every crack and crevice for something secret and magical, because every house had to have a secret, right? What was the fun in moving if you couldn't find a secret with each new place? The little boy had a different idea. He decided that he was going to venture down into the basement. Being a 7-year-old brave little boy was probably not so smart. But there he was, heading towards the door, pushing it open. Downstairs there was loud machinery noises, but something that wasn't quite right. There was a scraping noise along the floor, like something was dragging, something heavy. The little boy tried to reach for the light switch, but he couldn't. He was too tiny. So instead of venturing further down, he had the sense to turn around. And it was as he was shutting the door that he heard the scrapes go onto the stairs. The scrapes became thuds, and the thuds grew louder. The little boy ran into his parents' room and decided to scream at them. "Mommy, Mommy, Daddy, Daddy, there's something in the basement. It's coming to get us." Of course they didn't believe him. He's a child in a new house, a new environment. It's just an act of imagination. So they sent him off to bed and pet him on the head and went back to their own room. The parents heard a sound in their room, and they weren't sure what it was, so the mother sat up in bed and called out to see if it was one of her children. The little boy had answered her back. "Mommy, I'm really, really hungry." The mother shook her head and told him that he needed to wait until the morning and she'd make him a sandwich or something. He goes, "Mommy, but I'm hungry now." The mother laid back down and told the boy that he would have to wait whether he liked it or not, and that was that. After a few moments of laying there in the silence, she felt something weird, but she couldn't understand what it was. She just couldn't place the weird feeling. There was some movement under the blankets, near their feet. She lifted up the blanket to see her son there with a big grin on his face. "It's okay, Mommy, I'm not hungry anymore." His face was now smeared with a red, gooey substance. She didn't understand what it was until she looked down at her feet. She was missing her toes. Her son had eaten her toes. That was when she screamed, and that was the last sound we had ever heard from her. A few years down the road, another family had decided to purchase this haunted house. They had heard all the strange tales and all the horrifying details. They had heard about the family that had gone missing, and how all they found of the missing family was a few toes on the floor. They had heard rumors where there were photos of the girls mutilated on the coffee table in the living room where they were playing, where the basement door was wide open and the husband's remains were dropped halfway down the stairs. And the mother was coated in blood from head to toe, and you couldn't even recognize her anymore. And that little boy, still there at the end of the bed with a grin on his face. But this didn't deter them. No, they didn't believe in ghosts. And they just thought that that family had gone berserk. Or maybe they were all just horrifying stories meant to scare people who weren't locals away from this beautiful house. The new family that had bought it consisted of 2 people. A young teenage daughter and her mother. They had thought that the house needed a lot of fixing up. It had made weird sounds, and it looked like something from a horror film. But it was okay, because it was really cheap on the market, something they could afford, and it was close to a small town where the teenager could make lots of friends. The first day there, the teenager had stayed home to unpack as the mother went to go buy groceries. The teenager decided that there was just too much to unpack by herself, so she thought that exploring would be more fun. She had already unpacked their best flashlight, so what better to do to explore the basement. There had to be something there, right? All the tales had spoken of something creepy in the basement. Every horror story had something creepy in the basement. She had to explore. She went down to the basement, flicked on a light, and was kind of upset to see that the light worked fine. Nonetheless, she went down the creaky stairs one by one until she got to the floor. Looking around, she could see nothing out of place. Solid concrete floor, nice blue walls, there was a washer and a dryer, and there was this big water heater, but apart from that, everything seemed fine. That was when the light started to flicker. The light started to go out. The teenager had had enough. She ran towards the stairs when she heard the basement door slam shut. That was when she heard the scraping sound coming from somewhere in the basement. If there was a thing down here, she did not want to discover what it was. About halfway up the stairs, she remembered she had a flashlight. She flicked it on and let the bright light sweep the bottom of the floor. She couldn't see anything, but the sound was getting closer, and it was starting to be joined by others. It had sounded like there was multiple different things down there, and they were all heading in her direction. She scrambled to the top of the stairs, screaming and pounding against the door, crying out for her mother, hoping that at some point she would come home and save her. And that was when the beam of light hit something that she could not understand. The figure at the bottom of the steps was misshapen, but it was definitely a person. His arm was bent at an awkward angle, as if somebody had taken it and snapped it backwards. His head was tilted to the side, but the form of his neck had shown that there was no way that he could move it if he tried. In his hand was an axe that he had been dragging along the floor. His leg had been snapped, and he was dragging that as he walked too. That was when more forms joined him, a smaller one with a missing stomach. And another one about the same height had joined it, and it was just grinning. Just a constant little grin. And then they started coming up the stairs towards her. And she lost everything. She screamed and screamed and screamed. And then there was nothing. She was no longer screaming, because she was no longer there. The mother came home to an empty house, not sure what had happened to her younger daughter, but she didn't stay there for long. She moved away, and that was the end of that. They burned the house to the ground, and the town was done with it. There was just too much going on. The end. So it may not be the best story. I think I had made it up when I was back in maybe middle school. I was only 11 or 12, so sorry if my creativity sucks ass, but that's that. And my camera battery is dying and is telling me that I need to go, and I have work at 9:30 in the morning, so I really need to leave and go. Bye! There was no way. This was just a light bulb that needed to be changed. Oh, that was kind of scary.